Hey guys, what is happening and welcome to this video. So in today's video, we are talking about the Great Reset. The Great Reset, what the heck is it and what is going on with that? Because a lot of people are quoting the Great Reset, but they have no clue, I think, what the Great Reset is actually going to be and how it's going to affect them. So without further ado, guys, let's do this. All right, guys, I'm back. So the Great Reset. Okay, so right now you've got people like Michael Burry, and if you haven't watched my video on Michael Burry's prediction, then watch that video. I'll link it in the description. So you got people like Michael Burry who are now predicting that yields are going to spike, which would collapse the housing market. It would collapse anything which relies on debt to function. So the Great Reset, where does this come into play? The Great Reset, and it's a tagline that everybody seems to be using right now, is you will own nothing and be happy. And let me tell you exactly how that's going to work. So people think that that just means go out and buy a house right now. Go out and buy a house, go out and buy everything, because right now, if you don't buy it, then that means that you're not going to own anything. And that is just so far from the truth. It's funny, but when the sheep and the herd are running around doing stuff, it's always best to take a step back and go, what is going on? What is everybody doing? Everybody is crazy. So this Great Reset, what a lot of big people in investment and hedge funds are predicting that this is going to be, is a debt cycle reset. So you're basically going to have debt reset, but it's not going to happen in the way that you think. You think that it's just going to be like they're going to say everybody's debt is now gone. That would never happen, because places like China and Russia are never going to agree to that. So the debt is never going to be reset, because you never get all the countries to agree to that. Some countries' debt is an advantage for them. So what will happen is you're probably going to see interest rates that are really high coming. I can't tell you when, but they are coming. And they're not going to be high as like the 80s and the 90s, but they're going to be interest rates that are very high, higher than in the past 20 years. And that may only be like 5-6%, because when was the last time that you can remember interest rates of 5-6%? Before 2008 probably, okay? So when interest rate goes really high, you're going to have people defaulting like crazy. And that is where the Great Reset comes in, because I think you're going to be surprised by what's happened. You're going to see a lot of banks that, instead of foreclose on properties and go that way, they're going to do schemes where they can get ownership of the property, even though they own it already, because people don't realize this, but if you've got a mortgage, you don't own your home. You have the illusion that you own your home, but you don't. You're renting it off the bank. If you stop paying your payments, the bank's going to take the house, because ultimately it's the bank's house in the first place. They just let you paint the walls whatever color and build a shed and give you the impression that you do own it, even though you don't. So you just keep it really, really nice. So if you do default, then the bank's got a nice property where you've done all the work and the renovations and everything like that. The banks aren't stupid, guys. They know exactly what to do. They're really, really smart. I hate to say it, because I don't like banks. I'm not fans of them. But the Great Reset is essentially going to be where you're getting institutions and banks owning large amounts of property, and they're going to be renting them out. Now, I think the element of this, which is you will be happy, is the fact that there's going to be so much flexibility and rents are going to come down a lot. Because let's face it, guys, if rents go down a lot, then what's going to happen? You're going to see all the private landlords are going to have to start selling their homes or giving them to the banks and the institutions. And if that happens, then the rental market is essentially going to be more banks and institutions at lower rents, and people will have more money, and everything is going to be more stable, or at least that's how they're predicting it to work in theory. Now, I obviously am totally against that type of thing, but that's just the thing that they're predicting. And guys, you have to understand that institutions like Blackstone have been buying up real estate all over the world for the past decade. This is nothing new. It comes into the news every once in a while that some hedge fund is buying houses right now. They just bought loads in the pandemic. There was one in Toronto that hit the news and everybody was really upset on. Well, let me tell you guys, a lot of these hedge funds that have done so, they did the same in 2008, and a lot of hedge funds went bankrupt in 2008. Tons of them. So just because people are buying property right now, it does not mean that they're smart. It means that they're just trying to get a yield on their money by renting it out, because bonds aren't returning anything. So that's essentially what that is. But yeah, that's what the Great Reset is meant to be. The Great Reset of the debt cycle, and in a way that doesn't affect people in the way you'd think. And it's going to be very different. You'll probably see Amazon and Apple and Blackstone and RBC and all the banks who have these mortgages on their books anyway and own the actual houses and assets, well, they will be the ones more and more renting them out. And that's already happening. I don't know if you've had one of these letters, but they've come out multiple times. These letters where basically it says, hey, I want to buy your house, and it looks like it's a handwritten letter. And it says like, hey, call me on this number. And they use a shell company when you call them. And basically those letters are Blackstone. That's Blackstone trying to buy houses. So don't be naive. This is already happening, guys. It's already happening. And it is a big problem. It's a big problem, guys. And that's the thing. There's a lot of different people predicting different things. I think the Great Reset scenario could definitely happen, but it would depend on how painful this thing gets, and we really don't know at this point. I mean, we know it's going to get bad, but we don't know how bad. And if it gets so bad, then maybe people will be like, yeah, we want a Great Reset or whatever. I have no idea, but I know right now that that is not what people want. People want home ownership and everything like that. But the fact is that there's just so much greed in everything. Private landlords just don't have a clue. Like, they are so greedy and stupid. It's just getting to a point now where the economy is going to collapse anyways, because people are going to be squeezed so much. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was interesting to you to hear a little bit of a different perspective. And it's not my perspective, it's what other investment bankers and analysts predict that this is going to be. And I wonder why, if they work at an investment bank. But anyway, guys, I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Take care. Peace and love as always. Bye bye.